and misinterpreted and subverted the genuine concern of his family for his well-being, and he has been so completely seduced by Meghan and her nonsense and her constant playing of the race card, as everybody saw in the Oprah interview, that he actually, if you say to Harry, oh, I don't like Meghan's attitude. Oh, you're a racist. Everything for him is racism, because that is what she has planted in his mind. She is like Iago dripping poison into Othello's ear, and she has been doing it from very early on, because she's not so dumb as to have not picked up the vibes that some people didn't like her. And since she was determined to prevail, and she has been prevailing, the fact of the matter is that she has had one defense for everything that anybody said against her, which was they're racist. Evidently, Princess Anne objected to the fact that Meghan was a flagrant operator. She could see her coming, as I have said before, a mile off. She thought there was something of the souk, the bazaar, and the hustler about Meghan. Some of those are my words, some are not. Some are Princess Anne's words, I gather. Some are mine, and I am conflating the two to protect my sources. She also thought that Meghan was not only a crass and vulgar operator, but that she was so flagrantly attention-seeking that it just absolutely turned Princess Anne off, because she couldn't stand Meghan's constant, me, any subject. She's right in there. And also, Princess Anne, remember, has innate modesty. She is the person who spent years learning about Save the Children before she decided she had sufficient knowledge on the subject of the charity to make initially tentative suggestions as to how they could improve their performance. So you have on the one hand somebody who is modest, who is considered, who waits before plunging in, and you have on the other hand somebody who is egotistical, thinks that she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and plunges right in. She's an authority on everything, being an expert on nothing. And Princess Anne was evidently absolutely horrified that this creature stood a chance of becoming a member of her family. She saw nothing but trouble down the line, and she made it clear that she thought that it was an appalling idea. She evidently, of the whole of the family, is the one who from the very word go was vociferous about the fact that Meghan's character and Meghan's personality were an absolute misfit, and that Meghan would end up being nothing but trouble, as indeed has turned out to be the case. Now, people who are into astrology will say, well, Princess Anne is a Leo, and so is Meghan, and one Leo can spot another Leo a mile off. Well, let's put that to one side, because I actually think that, yeah, they're both Leos. Well, I'm actually a Leo too, in fact. But I don't think it's got anything to do with astrology. I think it's all to do with discernment. Princess Anne evidently also objected to the fact that Meghan was so superficial and so culturally ignorant, and I'm using culture in the broad meaning, you know, British culture versus American culture or continental culture, that Meghan was so culturally ignorant and so determined to not learn anything, because her attitude was she knew better than anybody else, and she was here to save the monarchy, and she was going to be telling everybody what they should be doing. Or as Princess Anne put it on more than one occasion, she thinks she's invented the wheel. Well, yeah, I mean, those of us who've been lectured in their hundreds of millions now by Meghan Markle, you know, 3 bits of world salad, 2 bits of fantasy, a dash of vinaigrette as she casts shade on any competition, we'll know that Princess Anne was absolutely right. She made her feelings very clear, and she said that she did not think that Harry should marry Meghan Markle, and she thought that everybody who was going along with it was making a great mistake, because she was going to turn out to be nothing but trouble. She objected always on the grounds of character, always on the grounds of personality. She did bring in cultural differences and made the point that Meghan was the wrong sort of American. Her allusion was not that all Americans would be unsuitable, but that a certain sort of American, shades, I would imagine, in her thinking of Wallis Simpson, and certainly Meghan Markle, you know, the cool California babe that everything is just, you know, all problems in life can be solved with a trip to the beach and avocado. I mean, the facility of it all, you know, she's so facile, she skirts on the surface with a resolution that would make a teaspoon seem deep. And Princess Anne picked that up. And that is the basis upon which Harry has decided that there were concerns about Meghan's colour. There were no concerns about Meghan's colour. Princess Anne was rightly concerned that if the marriage proceeded and there were children, there would be huge problems. Not because of Meghan's colour, but because of Meghan's inability and determination to remain unable to appreciate the cultural differences and to actually have respect for the institution into which she was going to be marrying and the family into which she was marrying. Because Meghan made it apparent to all these people in their 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s that they knew nothing, that she had come to save them. I mean, the arrogance of it all. And as a member of the royal circle said to me, you know, nobody has anything against Americans. I mean, look at Ginny Early. Ginny Early is the Countess of Early. She is one of the Queen's oldest, closest friends. She is Princess Ali John's sister-in-law. Her husband David was for many years the master of the household, or I think actually he was the Lord Chamberlain. but he might have been master of the royal household. I think he was the Lord Chamberlain. In fact, I'm almost sure he was the Lord Chamberlain, but I'm not going to look it up because I can't be bothered to stop to check on such a trivial detail at this point, because I don't want to lose my stride. And Ginny Early, American, another American, the Countess of Carnarvon, the Dowager Countess of Carnarvon, who was